This is Zach.
Zach, this is Gary Vaynerchuk, and you're on the Ask GaryVee show with Michael Ventura.
Hey.
Oh my goodness, I am tripping out right now. This is crazy, man. How are you guys?
We're super well.
Excellent.
How can we help?
Great. So my biggest question right now is, so I'm an entrepreneur and a creative director myself. I had a product come out this year called the Bible Study, and it's a full year study of the Bible, and then I also designed it to be very appealing for millennials.
Love it.
So it's all full of photos and graphic design and everything. So my question is, how do you balance workflow between business tasks and being creative? Do you schedule times to be creative?
In my life, I have a hard time drawing a line between those two things, because I think part of my life is to be creative professionally. So I don't really schedule much time that is overtly for being creative versus being a business person, because I feel like those worlds, when they blend, is actually when I get the most productivity out of myself. That said, when I wrote the book, because the book is a very different type of creativity and a very different type of workflow than working with teams and building solutions, that was something I'd said every Friday I'm going to just take a writing day. And I chose Friday not just because it's the end of the week, but also because if I was on a roll and I was loving it, I could roll into Saturday, Sunday, knock out 3 days of writing and be back in the office Monday. So I started it in April, I finished it in November, and that was like the workflow I set up for myself that suited that.
Zach, for me,
Amazing.
I think we judge ourselves too much. I think people spend more time trying to figure out the process of doing work and being creative than actually just letting it flow and being I'm okay with waking up 18 months later and being like, fuck, I haven't been thoughtful at all about anything. I've just been doing so much. Let me take a step back. And my team will tell you, since 4 of them are here, which is very creative around the GaryVee brand, I could text you on Thursday saying we're fucking crushing it, everything's rolling, super pumped, and literally Friday morning something happens and the text on the 18-person, 30-person thread we have is like, we suck, guys, we need a complete reset, we're a fucking disaster. And they'll tell you, I don't run hot and cold. That's a bad manager, somebody who runs hot and cold. Once, twice, 4, 7 times a year, I'll have that reset moment. Rarely does it lead to some macro It's ironic. I just walked across the street from an offsite with my leadership team. The first one I've had as an offsite, not a 1 hour in years. My ultimate reason for ranting about some of these themes, Zach, is, brother, everybody's judging themselves too much. Like, just being is a hell of a lot better. It's funny, I watched every Star Wars reboot movie the day and weekend it came out, except this last one, right? The one that came out last November, right? Maybe the Solo fucking, propaganda got me thinking like, oh shit, I forgot to watch the last episode. So I watched it Friday night, which is rare for me to watch content, but I'm all about the Star Wars shit. And like when Luke is like training her about the Force, it's just like, let it be. Like it's big. The reason that movie has always spoken to me is I genuinely think I play that shit. I believe that like I'm very close to being a horrible guy, and I'm so thankful that I'm not, the whole Jedi dark side thing. And I think it's because I play, and I think it's because, it's a very long-winded answer to your question, Zach. My recommendation, never debate it again. When you're rolling creatively, mazel tov. When you're operational, cool. When you're on defense for a year, fine. When you're on offense for a year, good. When you had too many lures in the pool and you realize it, pull some back. But everybody's fucking planning, and nobody's doing.
That's probably one of the most valuable
Yeah.
I've learned.
D-Rock's jumping in here, which is rare, so we got to take it serious. What's that, D-Rock?
No, that's one of the most valuable lessons I've learned, just not judge myself. Like some days I'm super creative, I can bang out like 5, 10 videos, and other days I can't do one, and it sucks. And then
You just
can't force it.
We're just judging. Zach, we're judging too much. We're judging ourselves most of all. Like, but you might be a very structured person. For example, somebody who's watching is like, I can't do that. Like, I need like Monday to be this day and Tuesday's my that day. And that's awesome too.
Right.
Don't judge that. Don't think you need to be like me. It's all about self-awareness. Know how you roll. But I would just say don't dwell or try. I think everybody's trying to, in a world where everybody's trying to do better and be better, I think a lot of times it comes at the detriment. You know how they talk a lot about like kids have so much creativity and then the system kicks it out of them? I often think my bad report card and my kind of like being very insular made me unbelievably creative and thoughtful as an entrepreneur. Because I never allowed myself to let the outside forces, and I think sometimes the biggest outside force is your own force on yourself.
100%. Empathy for yourself has to come first before empathy for anyone else. Because if you don't understand you and the way you work and the way you function, then what's the point? You're not going to be, it's game over.
Lack of self-awareness. Zach, does that make sense?
So true. Yeah, absolutely.
How do you get creative? How do you do it?
Yeah, it's funny because I'm very structured with my time, and I have no problem banging out a 14, 16-hour workday because I love the business grind of it, but I know that I also have to be creative because I am a creative person. So it's like I just got to figure it out and kind of plan it in sometimes, because I'll be like, okay, I can spend 6 hours today figuring out how to make my social better on my talking about like what I'm actually going to be putting out. But it's like, okay, I need to actually spend time designing it and creating it and turning it into something. So I feel you there, man.
I get it.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.